Welcome in, welcome in. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Week 14 NFL episode of Sons of DFS. I am your host, Matt Campbell, and we are taking over tonight. In my passenger seat here, I got my brother from another mother, Devin Butler. What's up, Devin?
Not much. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Enjoying this. You excited for this show or what?
I'm pumped. I am ready. I'm excited.
Hell yeah. And down at the bottom, I got my other brother from another other mother, Mr. Randal Kennedy. What's up, homie?
What's going on, brother Mac?
Chilling, excited for this, excited to be with you again. Y'all might know it, but I actually cut my teeth with Randall with his Red Zone podcast. He let me jump on when I didn't know anything about what I was doing and produce his shows, and really appreciate that.
Look at you now. You're one of the best producers in the space.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
Damn,
that.
damn right.
So here on Sons of DFS, we are proud members of the Fantasy Points Media Group. If you haven't checked out Fantasy Points, you definitely need to. They got all the information, tons of articles, tons of stuff coming out every week. You get on there and you like what you see and you decide you want to bump up to their premium content, you can use our promo code, that is Sons22, and that'll get you 10% off of a subscription there, their premium. Devin, have you used the Fantasy Points stuff much?
A little bit. I've seen a lot of it on Twitter, and it's just a lot of information, a lot of good stuff. It's just really good. So I like it a lot.
Heck yeah. Oh, trying to do two things at once here. Usually I'm behind the scenes. All right, so we'll go ahead and just kick things off, get it going here. Let's just talk about our weeks. Devin, what'd you think of that football game last night?
I did not watch the football game last night, but
You missed the Baker Mayfield show.
I did. I mean, I saw the clip of it, so um, I was a little busy doing some other stuff, but I heard that Baker kind of led a drive there and finished it off for him. So that was definitely not expected, I don't think.
I saw a cool clip with him getting the game ball afterwards. He was all pumped. It seems like everybody was real pumped for him. Randall, did you watch the game?
I watched it sporadically. Um, my girlfriend and I went to a new spot last night down on the water. They had all you can eat oysters in season.
Ooh.
So I was eating oysters and watching the game, and then we came home and I kind of died and into a coma, and I woke up and Baker Mayfield was celebrating, and I was like, when I fell asleep, it was 13-3 Raiders. How did they manage to lose the game? Uh, I did, almost choke when I thought Josh Jacobs might be hurt there for a while, but he came back. Everything was good. X-rays negative. I think he'll probably be fine. You know me, man. I'm always gonna have the game on if I can.
I hear that.
I'm a degenerate.
Now, Josh Jacobs, you got a lot of dynasty shares of Josh Jacobs?
I did have a lot of dynasty shares of Josh Jacobs. I have traded a few dynasty shares of Josh Jacobs in leagues that I'm not competitive in. Um, and he, it's crazy. I would trade him, and he would go out and have another monster week. And it's like, man, maybe I should have held off one more week. Maybe his value would have went a little higher. And then I would trade another share, and then he'd go out and have another two monster weeks. And I'm like, dang, dude,
Yeah,
he's having a phenomenal year. I don't think even the most ardent Josh Jacobs supporter saw this coming.
absolutely not. And so, does that have you rethinking like some other running backs? Even look at Miles Sanders having a good year this year. Would that maybe have you guys thinking about some other running backs who you were high on in the draft, haven't done anything for the first couple years, maybe going out and trying to steal some shares of, looking for this kind of a breakout, year 4 breakout, year 5 breakout?
I, I'll tell you what it has done for me. Watching Josh Jacobs, and we sort of kind of figured Saquon Barkley was going to bounce back. But watching Jacobs and Sanders and the volatility of the running back position has made myself as a dynasty player sort of downgrade the running back position because it interchanges so much, and it changes so much from year to year. Whereas the wide receiver position, for example, once you got those top guys tend to eat for a while.
Right.
And I know we've always said that great dynasty teams are built on the backs of wide receivers. I think that's becoming more and more the case as the NFL gravitates to a more wide open passing style, and you see more and more backfields devolve into specialist roles like that. You got your even Josh Jacobs is spelled, even though he can catch the ball. You see Abdullah coming in
Right.
and those guys, and there's just so many mouths to feed in these backfields that that it's made me devalue the running back position a little bit. You still got to have them; they're still important. They're maybe not as important as they used to be.
I feel that 100%.
Absolutely agree with that. Yep.
Well, one position that does matter in Dynasty and especially here in DFS is the quarterback position. So let's go ahead and hop into that. Rusty, who's the first quarterback that you got on your list tonight?
Well, being a Vikings fan, I suppose I better go with my boy Kirk Cousins, the Kirk O'Chains. That's what they call him now, apparently.
Yep.
He's averaging about 23 DraftKings fantasy points in a game. And the Lions are actually the softest schedule adjusted matchup for opposing QBs over the full season. But that QB number is a little bit misleading, as Detroit has been the 10th softest matchup for opposing QBs through the air. So it's kind of an above average but not elite matchup for Kirk. I think he threw for about 260, a couple touchdowns last time. I think it's the highest scoring game on the slate.
Right.
I kind of want a lot of it. So, it starts with the quarterbacks and, having JJ receiving his, the balls. I think Kirko at 6,100 is not a bad call this week.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. How about you, Randall? You like Kirk?
Yeah, so I'm a Kirk Cousins fan in general. As far as this week in particular, um, you know, just to talk about this game, this is a game that I want to stack personally. Um, Minnesota has allowed the most yards versus wide receivers than any team in the league. So if you're gonna play Kurt and you're gonna want to get Justin Jefferson, you're gonna want to get Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're gonna want to stack this game up. If you don't pay up for Mark Andrews, and we'll touch on Mark Andrews later, T.J. Hawkinson, since the trade, he's tied Travis Kelce in receptions at the tight end position. He's averaging 6 a game. Just plug him in. You can say the revenge game narrative here also if you want. I don't buy into that stuff. Um, they pretty much did him a favor by trading him away. He gets into a better offense. He's going to, make the playoffs. Um, the Vikings have allowed the 5th most receptions and 3rd most yards versus running backs. Enter DeAndre Swift, who for the first time in about a month last week played more than 50% of the snaps. He rewarded you with over 100 yards from scrimmage. He also got 5 red zone rushes. Again, highest game on the slate, as Devin said. This is going to be a game that I want to stack, and I want to lot this game, including Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I feel that. Any other quarterbacks that you're hot on this week?
Quarterbacks?
Yeah, quarterbacks.
Yeah, I love Jalen Hurts. And I realize that their opponent might not put up much of a fight this week. But the Giants blitz the most in the league. They blitz 40% of the time. That's going to leave a lot of wide open lanes for Hurts. He's got a nice safe floor because of his 609 rushing yards. I could see both his wide receivers getting loose for big plays. So I like Smith. I like A.J. Brown. this is another game before Saquon Barkley's neck injury creeped in, and he might not play this week, but if he does, um, this is another game that I wouldn't mind stacking. Um, yeah, this has the potential to be like big Eagles. They could put up 40 points easily.
Right. But,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, to your point there at the beginning, they do seem to let off the gas in the second half. They seem to really get on top of people, and Hurts put up 18, 19 points in the first half and just another like 10 in the second. You'd love to see him just keep his foot on the gas.
Yeah.
What about you, Devin? You want to pay up for Hurts this week at 8,100?
Always. I got a couple bar leagues where I have some Hertz and AJ Brown stacks, so I'm always shooting for that guy to just, and just do great, and he has. So I'm all for it. It's the Giants, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Tyler Huntley. Now, that's a guy that I know Randall and I have both been on in Dynasty for a long time, and really looking forward to seeing him get a chance to start. I'm liking him at 5,500 versus Pittsburgh. Anybody else interested in Tyler Huntley this week?
Yeah. Me. When he got his opportunity last year when Lamar Jackson got hurt, and he didn't disappoint. I like Huntley a lot. He's got the safe floor with his rushing. I tell you an interesting fact about Huntley, and this may lead into the talking about Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is the only pro football player to catch a touchdown pass from Tyler Huntley.
Ah, interesting.
Tyler Huntley loves Mark Andrews.
Ooh.
As bad as this injury is for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, it's that good for Mark Andrews.
Hear that?
Like,
Interesting.
oh, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say my buddy called this Lamar injury a couple weeks ago. He just really seems to be on top of like some of the inside talk going around the NFL, and he thought that Lamar was going to get an injury at some point here, and once their playoff hopes were kind of not looking the best, or their season wasn't looking the best, and just probably not play for him the rest of the season. Just he's that pissed off about the contract situation.
Well, that's interesting because if they're going to move on, they got to know what they got in Huntley.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking for Lamar in some Falcons red and black next year. I'm calling it right here.
I would love that.
I would say if you're gonna pay down for Huntley at 5,500, I like looking at Trevor Lawrence, who is 5,700. In 6 games this year, he's completed more than 70% of his passes. He was over 80% in 3 of those. The Titans are first in rush defense DVOA, but 22nd in pass defense and 19th in adjusted sack rate. I think this game sets up nicely for Trevor Lawrence and his pass catchers, both Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, who are both target monsters. Zay Jones has gone 14-10 in the last 2 weeks, target-wise. Christian Kirk has 55 targets in his last 6 games. This is another game if you can stack, because we all know what Derrick Henry does to the Jaguars every time he plays them.
Love it.
Absolutely.
One other quarterback before we move on. I know we won't talk a whole lot about that Lions-Minnesota game, but don't forget about Jared Goff at 5,600. Vikings' 9th softest schedule adjusted matchups against opposing quarterbacks. All right, so let's roll into running backs then. Fire up this sweet running back overlay there, and why don't we get started with Tony Pollard? Who likes Tony Pollard this week?
Love him.
What you got on Tony Pollard?
Tony Pollard is the most efficient running back in the NFL. He's averaging 5.8 yards per carry and 4.1 yards after contact per attempt. And he's actually he's leading the league in explosive play percentage with an 8.8%. The Texans have allowed the 6th most yards per carry and the 7th most yards after contact per attempt, while grading out as PFF's 4th worst run grade defense. So we know this guy is he's busting these big plays. Obviously, Zeke is there. Zeke is cheaper. If you want to pivot off, I'm totally okay with that. I think I actually have that in a couple lineups, but this kid's just he's exciting. And, I think Dallas is just going to run all over these guys and he's going to get his for sure.
That's a fact. He's been so hot lately. I've just been seeing, and I got 0 Pollard shares. I'm not even going to lie. And he's just been killing.
Yeah, so this is the largest spread on the slate, right? 16. I think that the Texans are already down 3 touchdowns. The Houston run defense is dead last in the league. The game script for this game sets up perfectly for Pollard and Zeke. I'm still trying to figure out if Pollard's price tag is a Christmas present. Yeah, I think big things for Tony Pollard this week. I love him. Get him in if you can. And like you, Matt, I have 0 shares of Tony Pollard across like 26 dynasty leagues, which is unbelievable.
Well, to have shares, you got to be a patient person because he, has broken some hearts over the last few years of some guys that have been so hot on him. So, if you have a share, congratulations. Cheers.
Yeah.
I think I got a couple.
So we got him at 6,700. We got Swift coming in at 5,800. That's a super hot game. Devin, is that your guy too?
Yeah, I mean, I love Swift. I know Randal talked about him a little bit earlier. Again, this is just going to be a really high scoring game. Swift is, he's been coming out lately. He's been coming out hot, and I don't think that's going to slow down at all. So I really like him this week in that game.
Seemed like he finally got the edge on Jamal Williams last week.
I still think Williams still, get in the end zone a couple of times maybe, but I don't know. It could be a turning of the tides here for sure, which I think I'm definitely happy with. But you think, Randall?
I need some Swift action. I've been in a real fun league, newer guided or group to Twitter this year, Mosaic MC. You guys recognize that clan? They started a guillotine league with a bunch of Twitter folks, 18 people, and now it's narrowed down to 5 teams, and somehow I'm still in it. And I've been playing zero running back the whole time, and Swift is. I've been trying to start Kamara, and that hasn't been working for me. So,
what do you think of that guillotine? I did my first one last year. That's kind of that's pretty crazy. Just playing the waiver wire and you see all those awesome guys out there, and it's just like, how much do I drop? And it drove myself crazy. But I did pretty well last year with the league I was in. But man, that's wild.
I'm doing well. I think I might have the most money at this point in time. I was the only person that even spent money last week because I had so much. I was able to get a bunch of the guys that were dropped. Surprisingly, it's really been one of my most fun leagues of the year. I find myself checking that a lot.
It's funny how that works out when you win. You check those leagues.
I was thinking about that today. My most successful leagues are the ones that I pay attention to, and I don't know what came first there, the chicken or the egg.
There's definitely a correlation.
All right, let's stay on running backs here. Randall, I know you're in the mix in this week at 6,900.
Oh man. Returns just in time to face one of the worst rush defenses in the league. The Browns are 31st in rush defense DVOA, and they've allowed the 2nd most touchdowns to running backs and the 2nd most touches to running backs. I'm not big on Joe Burrow. Burrow against the Browns is kind of weird. Like he's Superman against Pat Mahomes, but he's Mighty Mouse against the Browns. But Mixon, I really love him. I think he's going to do a lot of damage. I think the Bengals are going to kill the Browns, and they're going to do it on the back of Joe Mixon.
Does he have another 5 touchdown game in him this week?
Ooh,
I don't know if he has another 5 touchdown game in him, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him get 3.
Absolutely.
there you go. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. All right, we didn't have many running backs on the slate. I went ahead and threw Pacheco on there at 5,700. I mean, it's not super cheap, but especially when you're looking at him next to Swift there at 5,800. But been getting the luxury thanks to Mahomes and all that success of Andy Reid's to watch the Chiefs every week. And in my local network or local area, it's pretty much only Steelers are the only other team I'm getting to watch every week. So you can see Pacheco coming on. You can see that dude is just a ball of fire. And, some point in time he's going to burn out all that energy. But I'd say go ahead and hop on him while you got a chance. All right.
Yeah,
so,
he's starting to get more and more of the passing game, and that's important
Absolutely.
for someone like him to return on investment.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
So before we jump into the wide receivers here, we've been working with a new app called Elite Picks. It's available on Apple, and I don't have Apple because I break too many phones, so I don't know a whole lot about it. So I'm going to throw this over to Devin here and let Devin tell you a little bit more about Elite Picks.
For sure. Yeah. Elite Picks is an optimizer for, DFS. I've never really used anything like this before, and I've probably been using it for about a month now. And it is so easy to use, and I just thought it was really fun. And so you take as much control as you'd like by locking in and customizing players and letting the DFS lineup optimizer fill in the rest. You can lock guys in who you like for the week, and then like I said, the optimizer kind of fills it in for you and gives you a projected score and everything like that. Elite Picks optimizer uses top projections and provides cutting edge multi-lineup features to direct you to the lineup guidance you need to build winning Draftkings and FanDuel lineups. If you've never tried one before like me, it's super easy, and you can try it for free by clicking on the link below to sign up for 1 free week of Elite Picks optimizer access. So it's been new, but it's been great. I've just noticed that it's really been helping a lot, and you just get to see more different lineups and how things might roll out, for different slates and everything like that. So I really recommend it, and I really do like it a lot.
Nice. So just echoing what Devin said there, check out our comments, or I'm sorry, whatever, the show description and all of that Elite Picks info will be in there, and jump on there, check it out.
Yep.
All right, so moving on into wide receivers here. We don't have this guy pulled up, but I got to talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown a little bit. I know y'all like him tonight, right?
Ooh.
Or tomorrow. Or Sunday.
Sunday.
More Saturday football, huh?
So, excluding games where Amon-Ra St. Brown suffered an injury, was on the injury report or listed as questionable. He's averaging 10.9 targets and 24.6 fantasy points over his last 13 games. He's hit on at least 15 fantasy points in 12 of 13 and double digit in 11 of 13. Over the 4-season, 24.6 fantasy points would lead all wide receivers. 7,800 if you're wanting to do, jump in big on that game. If you're wanting to get Goff, stacking with Amon-Ra, and then maybe bring back Hawk or JJ or whoever you can afford there.
Cash game cheat code. There has not been a game this season that Amon-Ra St. Brown finished healthy that he had fewer than 8 targets. He is a target monster. Put him in your lineup.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Who else you like? You guys like JJ this week? Talking about that game?
I mean, I like JJ every week.
Always, exactly, Randall. Every week I like JJ. That guy is
I know that Justin Jefferson did not have the best game. The first time they played the Lions, I don't think there was anything schematically that they did to lock JJ up. I am expecting a normal Justin Jefferson type game Sunday, i.e., 7 to 8 balls, 100 to 150 yards, and possibly a touchdown. I know that's completely ridiculous to say that's a normal game. That's a normal game for Justin Jefferson.
absolutely.
Dude is amazing.
He's so good.
So who's a wide receiver you're liking this week, Devin?
I am on the Jerry Judy bandwagon, especially at 5,400.
The other JJ.
Exactly. Um, I guess I didn't even notice until just recently that Sutton is, I don't know if he's officially out or leaning towards out, maybe, but I'm just hoping Russ can cook this week. I saw on Twitter our pal Jacob Gibbs posted a nice little information here. 16% of Jerry Judy's routes have come versus man coverage. 51% of his receiving yardage has come versus man coverage. And the Chiefs are one of 8 teams that use man coverage at least 30% of the time. No Cortland Sutton, this man coverage business. They're probably going to be paying. I know they're going to be playing from behind. Got to fire them up. 5,400. I like it.
Yep, not going to break the bank.
Exactly.
What about you, Randall? What's another wide receiver you're hot on this week?
Garrett Wilson.
Always.
Give me all the Garrett Wilson.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know a lot of people are going to say, but they're playing the Bills. But the Bills' defense is not what it was last year. The last 4 games, they've given up the 5th most passing yards per game. In the first matchup against the Bills, Wilson had 92 receiving yards, and that's when he had Cougar Destroyer Zach Wilson at quarterback.
Cougar
Now
Destroyer.
he's got Mike White at quarterback, and he's been lighting it up. I love Garrett Wilson. I don't care what his cost is. I'm plugging him in.
Mike effing White. Get it right, man.
Mike effing White.
Did y'all see the T-shirts?
Yeah.
What
I
the
did.
hell?
Yeah.
Zach
I
should
did.
just started cleaning out his locker as soon as them boys got them T-shirts printed. It's over for him.
Yeah, man. How do you go back to that dude?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Even with the name like the Cougar Destroyer. Just,
Yeah, even with all their moms out there, like, I like that kid. You should like him.
he's a
good
nice
boy."
kid.
He's a nice kid.
Maybe he'll come play for your Falcons instead of Lamar. What do you think about that, Matt?
I would take it. I like his arm talent. Obviously he's got. Well, we got Marcus Mariota this year. So.
I think you get Ritter this week. What do you think about that?
Why did it take the Falcons however many weeks to get rid of Marcus Mariota?
Dude, I don't even know. That's
Because Arthur Smith does not like to lose games. I know that's funny trying to balance between the two of those guys, but he's like come up with this game plan where he feels like he can run the ball 87 times and maybe squeak out a 16-13 win if we're lucky, Otherwise, if we're not lucky, we lose 19-16, And so I just think he wants to win some games.
seems like a
So,
solid game
pretty-
plan.
They ain't doing it.
They are not. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see Ritter this week.
I hope so. I picked him up in the league.
Superflex League?
Yeah. Well, they're on bye this week, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are on a bye this week.
Yeah.
And, since we talked a little bit about dynasty strategies earlier, and as I have mitigated the running back, I have learned that quarterback in a superflex league is probably the most hard to replace position. If you have an elite quarterback in a superflex league, keep him. Do not let him go. Hang on to him, because just look around at the subpar quarterback play around the league, and look at the advantages. Just go look. Don't even take my word for it. Just go look at the standings in your league and tell me what they all have in common. The top teams have Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
They have Patrick Mahomes. They don't have Russell Wilson and Derek Carr at quarterback. They just
Right.
don't. You've got to have elite quarterback play in superflex leagues, and I'll get off my soapbox.
No, don't stay on that soapbox.
It's-
The folks need to hear that. We're
It's
all
true.
about that dynasty theory here.
Yeah,
But
for
before we
sure.
move off of wide receivers, how about Tyler Lockett at 6,500?
Yeah, he's been. I think that he just gets passed up year after year, same old song and dance. But Seattle is a pass first offense, averaging 10.7% pass rate over expectations since week 8, a mark that would rank third best among all teams over a full season. Tyler Lockett, 10 of 13 weeks, double digit DT or PPR points. He's got actually, I know we just brought up that elite picks. They do have a scoring system. He's got an EP score of 89. So 100 is obviously the best, but he's got a really high score, and he's been doing pretty good lately. So, and I'm not really scared of that Carolina secondary. So I think that they're going to be tossing the ball again, and that backfield's kind of Walker's not there. It's kind of a iffy mess of a backfield, and Gino's been playing good. They're just going to be tossing the rock. Him and DK, fire him up.
Let Gino cook.
Absolutely.
Let's go Mountaineers. Loving seeing Gino, man. That's our boy around here. Love us some Gino.
Yeah, man. Nobody saw this coming from Gino this year.
No.
But
Not
I
one
will say
person.
this: I I was in so many redraft leagues at the start of the season, and I found myself watching DK Metcalf slip further and further down leagues to the point where I was drafting him in like the 6th and 7th round,
Mm-hmm.
and it just became it got to a point where I couldn't pass on him, and then Bob Harris, who is a genius of football diehards, he made the statement, and he said, the year that Josh Gordon tore up the league, who were the quarterbacks that threw him the ball? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who they were. I don't remember. And that's the point, right? We've seen elite talent at wide receiver win out. So he wasn't at all scared about Geno Smith throwing DK Metcalf the football. And so, it became a point where I was actually reaching for DK Metcalf. And he's on a lot of my teams. And I even traded for him in a couple of dynasty leagues when his value like bottomed out. And that's been one of the best things I did this offseason is get DK Metcalf on a lot of teams.
Smart.
He's been a beast.
He is a beast. Look at the man. He's that dude
He's
is physically a monster. Good call on your part, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Randall knows the dynasty theory. He and I chop it up a lot. He gets over on me a little bit. Just thinking about when we were talking about that elite quarterback conversation. About 3 weeks ago, he gave me Russell Wilson and Mike Evans for Deshaun Watson. And I knew afterwards that he had got me. I knew he had got me. I was just, it was a little bit short sighted. I wanted Mike Evans more than I wanted Russell Wilson, but he got me.
well, we gotta see Deshaun Watson play a lot better than he played last week if we want to declare a winner on that trade.
Well, we can assume he can. He's only 27, right? He's going to get it back.
Yeah.
Here's hoping. I mean,
Just
he
a
was
little
he was
rusty.
the best. I mean, he was the best quarterback. He was the best fantasy quarterback in the league before he went out. So, well, here's hoping he can get back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on into tight ends. We've really tight ends and DSTs. We've really talked about these two tight ends a lot, but I know Randall likes Mark Andrews, and I'll let him get any more Mark Andrews info he has out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pay up, and I'll give you a couple of steals if you really don't want to pay up for Mark Andrews. I'm personally paying up for Mark Andrews. He was a tight end one every week he played with Huntley last year. He averaged 22.5 fantasy points per game with Huntley, 16 fantasy points per game without, 8.6 receptions per game with Huntley, 5.3 with Jackson. With Huntley, he had a 27.5% target share. He caught 43% of Huntley's passing yards. And as I mentioned earlier, he is the only professional football player to catch a touchdown from to get from Tyler Huntley. So I'm paying up for Mark Andrews 10 times out of 10 this week. Just give me all the Andrews.
Love it.
I love that. Yeah, that's such an interesting stat. I didn't know that. That's
I wonder if
Right.
Isaiah. I wonder if Isaiah Likely has any sneaky potential there with Huntley liking tight ends.
That's a good thought. And they line likely up at wide receiver a little bit too.
There you go. Well, he's just about a wide receiver, right? I mean, what? He's not quite built like the traditional tight end.
No, he's not.
How about you, Devin? Who's the tight end you're liking this week?
well, I'm always going to go back to my Vikings, I think, and Randall touched on them a little bit earlier, but Hawkinson. This was actually kind of fun. Was that Hawk, since he's been with the Vikings, has been the number 2 receiver, earning 38 targets and 30 receptions while averaging 11.7 fantasy points per game, which is fourth most amongst tight ends over the full season. And the Lions kind of suck against the tight ends apparently. So again, we just we keep coming back to players with this game, and how high scoring of a game it is, and how we want to stack it and everything. And he's not as much money as Andrews, but I think tight end, you just got to pay up, sometimes for it. So I think both these options that we've talked about are pretty solid. So
I like it. A lot of times here we like to promote the pay down, so I had to dig deep and try to find me a pay down option. So the young Titans tight end, Chig. Anybody know that last name before I murder it?
Go ahead, brother. It's all yours.
you got it.
Akonwo. Let me try one more time. Okonkwo. Anyway,
There you go.
let's call my
Chig
boy
O.
Chig. Oh, Chig.
Nailed
Chig
it.
O.
If you're looking for a cheap option, I'd check that out. How about DSTs? What DSTs are y'all on this week?
Hey, I got a couple of cheap tight end options I want to talk
Stay
about.
there.
Ooh.
Stay there.
If it's all right.
Please.
Yeah. So if you like Trevor Lawrence, last week Evan Ingram had a 530 and 1 line. The Titans allow the 4th most receptions versus the tight end, and the 2nd most yards and the most touchdowns. So if you believe in Lawrence this week, if you like that game, Evan Ingram's a sneaky play. Another sneaky play at tight end I like this week is Dulcich from Denver.
Oh yeah.
With Cortland Sutton out, Nathaniel Hackett has said that they're going to use him in more of a wide receiver role. I actually think a lot of that work is going to funnel his way. He's coming off a monster game last week where he caught 6 balls for 86 yards. Those are a couple of cheaper plays that if you're not going to pay up for Mark Andrews or TJ Hawkinson, and you should, you could get those guys in your lineup.
Love it.
Yeah, love that.
All right, DSTs. What y'all got on that?
I threw the Steelers out there at 2,800. I mean, going against Huntley and I don't know. And now I don't feel so good about it after having our conversation. There's so many different, revolving quarterbacks. You got, Brock Purdy and Kyle Allen was starting for Houston for a little while. I think Mills is back now, but Huntley starting. I was just like, oh, you got maybe cheap option attack some of these quarterbacks, but I don't know. So I'll still roll the dice on it, but
like
2,800 is a good price. So.
Yeah.
And Steelers always have a good defense. I think they're at home, so we'll see, I guess.
Right on. I have been, as far as like streaming defenses going, I've just been trying to figure out who plays the Texans each week and going ahead and just going to get in that team. It seems to be about where your most points available are.
No Cooks or Collins this week. So I mean, is that just an automatic? You just throw Dallas on there. I think they're
I don't have my prices in front of me, but yeah, definitely.
I think it's
if you can afford
Dallas.
I think Dallas is 3,800. I think they're the third most expensive defense on the slate. I don't know how they're not the most expensive.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
There's no way I'm playing. I think it's Buffalo and the Chiefs. There's no way I would ever pick Buffalo or the Chiefs over Dallas this week. If you give me the option, I'm picking Dallas 1,000 times out of 1,000.
And 13% ownership on DK. And in case I didn't mention it earlier, all of these prices that you're seeing up here are all Draftkings prices. All right, well, y'all, I think that's got just about wrapping us up here. I really want to thank you a lot for joining me. This has been a fun show. It's been a fun chance to get to take over Dan's seat here. And I don't know, two other guys I'd rather bring along on the ride with me than you two.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you having me. It's been a blast.
Ditto. Yeah, absolutely. Love this.
Hopefully I can twist your arm and get you back again sometime, Randall.
We'll see. I commit to nothing.
All right, well, everybody, thank you for joining us, and hope you can see us again next week. He is Devin, he is Randall, and I am Brother Matt. And much love, y'all. Peace.